So now let's look at indifference curves, which are kind of ways to represent or describe these preferences graphically. So consider a particular bundle. So a particular bundle, so a particular consumption bundle, X1, X2. So again, X1 amount of good 1 and X2 amount of good 2. The set of all other bundles equally preferred to this consumption bundle X1, X2 is the indifference curve. It's the indifference curve containing X1, X2. So, usually we've been calling this bundle X, right? This is bundle X equals that. And so if we wanted to draw this out, good 2 is on the y-axis, good 1 is on the x. Here's this indifference curve where you have bundle, let's say x is up here, so it has x2 amount of good 2 and x1 amount of good 1. Every different bundle that's along this curve, the consumer is indifferent towards that bundle and bundle X. So we could have this other bundle X prime, this other one X prime prime, with different amounts of good 1 and 2. And what this is saying is bundle X, the consumer is indifferent between bundle X and X prime and X prime prime. So any bundle along this indifference curve, the consumer is indifferent towards. They get the same satisfaction of bundle X to bundle X prime and bundle X prime prime. They just have different combinations of good 1 and good 2. Now we can also have bundles on the inside, such as bundle Y and bundle Z. And here, Z is going to be preferred to bundle X. So Z is going to be on this higher indifference curve. So the further from the origin we are, the higher, the more preferred the bundle is. I should put it that way. And so bundle Z is going to be preferred to bundle X, X prime, and X prime prime. And bundle X or X prime or X prime prime is going to be strictly preferred to bundle Y, since Y is closer to the origin, so it's less preferred than anything on this indifference curve. So I know we kind of just discussed this, but maybe let's be a bit thorough here and kind of discuss exactly what I just kind of mentioned verbally at the end in terms of preferred bundles and this idea of higher and lower indifference curves. So X good 2 and good 1, let's say this is indifference curve 2, this is indifference curve 1, and this is indifference curve 3. And there's like an infinite amount of these indifference curves for every possible combination that the consumer is indifferent towards. So each bundle on I1 is strictly preferred so remember that's this symbol to each bundle on I2. And then again, each bundle on I2 is strictly preferred to each bundle on I3. So the indifference curves further from the origin are the most preferred, right? You can also talk about some different sets here, so x2 and x1. And let's just draw one indifference curve. Let's call it I1. I'll just put a cloud of. So anything kind of outside of this indifference curve. So WP of x, so let's maybe label x here. This is bundle x. So weakly preferred x, so that WP stands for weakly preferred, is the set of all bundles weakly preferred to bundle x. So that's going to be everything on this indifference curve. That should say I1, sorry. That includes everything on this, all the bundles on this indifference curve, plus all the bundles further from the origin. That's going to be the set of weakly preferred bundles to bundle x, right? But it includes the indifference curve because it's weakly preferred. Now strictly preferred, SPX, so strictly prefer, the strictly preferred set of this bundle x is the set of all bundles strictly preferred to bundle x. And so this strictly preferred set does not include the bundles on I1, right? Because they're indifferent towards all these bundles on I1. But this set is are the bundles that are strictly preferred. So it's just this cloud of bundles, not including this anything along the line, just further from the line. Okay. So one more thing to note about indifference curves before we're going to go into different examples of different kinds of indifference curves, what the different preferences might look like in terms of indifference curves. But the important thing is indifference curves can't cross. So if we were drawing these indifference curves, x2 and x1, let's call this indifference curve I1, and let's call this indifference curve I2. Where they cross is going to be bundle x. Let's put bundle y here and bundle z on this I1. So from I2, we see that bundle x is indifferent, the consumer is indifferent between bundle x and bundle y because they're both on the same indifference curve, I2. Now from I1, we see this blue indifference curve that the consumer is indifferent between bundle x and bundle z. By transitivity, that means bundle y is indifferent between bundle z. But the problem is here that they're not on the same indifference curve. So by definition, the consumer can't be indifferent between them. And in fact, bundle y has more of both goods than bundle z. So if we're talking about goods, then that's also an issue. So this isn't possible. But this is not possible. Since y and z are not on the same indifference curve. So basically transitivity stops these indifference curves from crossing. So if we're making this assumption that preferences are transitive, then we can't have crossing indifference curves. So just so we're all on the same page here, indifference curves are a way to describe or represent preferences. Different preferences will lead to different shapes of these indifference curves. So for different shapes of indifference curves. So the trick is to kind of think about the preferences that you're trying to describe, and then think about, well, if I wanted a bit more of good one, how does that, do I have to give up some of x2 to be indifferent to still be indifferent towards these bundles, or I could get more x1 and I'd still be indifferent between, the original bundle. And so you just gotta think about, that's kind of like the trick. It's basically like, let's think about the preferences that we're trying to describe, and then think about what shape they would look like. And so you can think about like adding a bit of, good 2 or good 1, and if you'd have to give up a little bit more of good 1 or 2 to be indifferent towards them, or whether you can keep on adding a good and you're still indifferent towards them.